Super. About a minute more, and then we will start the
Right.
conversation. All right, super. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Rethink with the Recircle session. I think it's an exciting conversation today evening to talk about a couple of interesting pointers. Hope all of
Right.
you grabbed a nice, hot, warm cup of chai during this rainy season, and I hope it's raining around in your cities. At least the location where I'm located, it's pouring. Since quite a few days. While we start the session, in terms of the flow, I'll first take this opportunity in terms of reintroducing ReCircle. What is it that ReCircle does? I'll then invite Gurashish, who is the co-founder and COO at ReCircle, to share his viewpoints. In fact, we'll be announcing the impact report and the work that they've been doing in short, and then we will move on to introducing the panel, start with their point of views, and then getting into an interesting Q&A round of session with them. So setting the context and starting from there, thank you so much again, everyone, for making time for joining us today evening. ReCircle is a resource recovery enterprise working towards a sustainable future. And they do this by preventing resources from entering landfills and ocean. In fact, instead, they direct them back into the economy for recycling, reusing, and repurposing, which is very exciting.
Right.
And I've had a chance to look at some of their work firsthand. ReCircle aims to build an inclusive, ethical, and circular ecosystem by means of organized employment for waste workers within the informal economy. In fact, we've seen this around us, so many people who've been managing waste for us, but unfortunately, we've seen them actually being at the same strata of society economics at their end that they've been. Um, it's inspiring that ReCircle is attempting in terms of changing that thought process. By doing this, they ensure that the security of jobs and dignified life of workers from all sections of society. And on behalf of ReCircle, I'm their consultant for strategy. I welcome you all, and I'll be your host. I'll be the moderator for the panel discussion today. And before we get into interesting conversation with all our panel members, I would first want to invite Gurashish, who's the co-founder at ReCircle. Before I hand it over to him, I take this pleasure in introducing him. Gurashish Singh Sani is the co-founder and COO at ReCircle, India's pioneering resource recovery enterprise. In a homegrown social he's a homegrown social entrepreneur with an urgent desire to do more and do better for his community. He hails from a family of serial businessmen. Asking questions and problem solving is second nature to Gurashish, who along with Rahul Naini co-founded ReCircle in 2015. Gurashish, as the company's chief operating officer, syncs with every team member and leads the execution of their strategies. His never-ending to-do list also oversees human resource requirements, liaising with the government on policies and structure, as well as business development. Being the change that he wants to see, Gurashish leads by example, making him a creator with invaluable long-term vision. Thank you so much, Gurashish, for joining us today evening. I hand it over to you to set the context for our evening. Share with us about the impact report that you've recently launched. Over to you.
I hope I'm audible. A very good evening to all the esteemed panelists. Thank you, Rohit, for handing over the mic, and as well as all the attendees that are here with us today. Without much ado, I will start by saying that this is the version 1 of championing plastic waste management, an event that we wish to continue in the future to be able to help us share thoughts get insights, and help us take the waste management industry overall to the next level. Um, we would like to thank all our stakeholders, starting especially from our Safai Sathis, who are the backbone of our company and the industry overall, collection partners, brand owners, donors, industry experts, mentors, a few of them who are here with us today, and our super driven team at ReCircle that is currently present. I'd like to present some key numbers and highlights for the impact that ReCircle has created in the last 6 years. Another request would be at a time convenient to all of you. The link for the impact report is given in the screen on all of our screens. So at a time convenient to you, please go through the same, give us your feedback, and let us know how we can improve. Just a few numbers that I could probably that I would like to put down on the table would be, this is our first impact report that we've created in the financial year 2021. It showcases our transformation and the strides that we've actually been managed to achieve in the last 6 years. Started off with a Raddiwala model where we were connecting Raddiwalas to individuals and households. Moreover, it was a model for us that has turned into one of our blessings, I would say. It was a CSR model where we've been able to raise more than 20 plus lakh rupees for the partnering NGOs that worked with us for the waste that was diverted from people who supported us, as well as companies and industries that supported us. We've gone ahead and created a Raddiwala app now that allows us to be able to initiate UPI payments, track data better, really provide the impact out there to the people who are joining us using that platform. So that is it on the Raddiwala's point of view. We also launched a zero waste to landfill programs with booming industries in beverage and healthcare. To name a few, would be Starbucks. We're doing zero waste to landfill for Starbucks, as well as Jaslok Hospital in Mumbai. We were happy to be able to serve them even through the COVID period, which was an issue area for them to be able to clean up the facility properly. Our total lifetime recovery, I'd be very happy to say, is 18.44 million kgs of waste, which has gone up from 10.74 million kgs in 2020, gone up from 5.97 million kgs in 2020 to 10.74 million kgs in 2021, which is a 97% increase in waste recovery overall. Our material recovery facilities at Dahisar have moved from 500 metric tons per day to over 1800 metric tons per day of material, 500 a month to over 1800 metric tons a month of material movement. This is possible because of our 350 plus informal waste pickers that help us really aggregate this material together. We've also been successful by bridging the gap of India's waste producers and waste processors at ReCircle by facilitating EPR compliance. With the help of EPR and our EPR partners here, we've been able to currently span ourselves to 43 cities, 20 states, 3 union territories, and growing. With the help of 2,300 plus informal waste pickers who help us collect this waste on a pan-India basis. And very happy to say in 2021, the data I have, we've been collecting more than 1,200 kgs of waste per hour. That is just a number that we've been able to get through with all the continuous support of people with us. We also launched our plastic neutral program, which helps beauty, hygiene, and brands who are not under. So we got a lot of inquiries from micro and small companies who've been left out of the EPR journey now, or it's not compulsory for them to do the EPR journey, but a lot of inquiries from them wanting to voluntarily do it. That was the launch of our plastic neutrality program that helped, where we help brands who willingly want to create a reverse logistics system and collect their waste to be able to fulfill their journey of being a sustainable company. All of this would not have possible without the 2,300 plus Safai Sathis we work with, and we are very happy to say that we've been able to incorporate fair trade and pay practices, government schemes such as PF, mandatory health insurance and medical camps for our Safai Sathis, provide full-time job opportunities to 200 plus people. As well as what we've seen with this is the dignity of labor and job security has resulted in stable salary, increased savings, and the ability to invest in essentials such as education and health for these Safai Sathis. Women have especially been impacted most positively, earning financial independence and having a voice of their own. So that's all from my side, ladies and gentlemen. I would request you again to go through the impact report at your convenience. The same can be accessed through the QR code at the bottom of the screen for a more detailed read and to know more about the stakeholders involved. Thank you very much, and over to you, Rohit.
Thank you so much, Gurashish. And I've also shared on the chat box the link to download the report. It is extremely inspiring, exciting to know the kind of work that is being done and how we are going out and as an organization, ReCircle is supporting people at the bottom of the pyramid. So thank you so much again, Team ReCircle, for doing this. And moving from ReCircle's journey to actually talking to our panel members today about their point of view about what's happening in the domain of plastic waste management, and ask them a few questions in terms of their experiences, what have been their observations. I'll start by first introducing our panel here before I hand over to each one of them to share their quick point of views before we get into a Q&A conversation with them. I would first like to start with Mr. Prabhjot Sodhi. Over the last 4 decades, he has donned several hats in areas related to waste management, circular economy, and climate change. Currently, he's the Senior Program Director at the Center for Environment Education. He is focusing his energies on streaming plastic waste management and recycling. Last year, he retired from the UNDP as Head of Circular Economy, a role that saw him instrumental in setting up material recycling facilities, or MRFs, across the country with the private sector partnerships. The success of these MRFs was endorsed by the Niti Aayog in its handbook on plastic waste management. He was awarded the Most Excellent Order of the Member of British Empire in 1998 by the Government of the United Kingdom for promoting sustainable development practices among tribals in India. In September 2012, the George Washington University, Washington, D.C., US, honored him with the Talented Conservator Award in recognition of his contributions in the field of biodiversity, conservation, and livelihood. Several of his works have been published in international and national journals. It's a pleasure to host you today evening, Mr. Sodhi. Thank you so much for joining us.
Very good evening to all of you. Thank you for giving me the space in this program. And good evening to all the people who are there with us. And so kind words, Rohit, from you to have introduced me. It's a pleasure. Now, you know, I was just in a meeting. I'm sorry I got late a little bit in early hours. You were phoning and I was sitting with some of the commissioners, with one of the commissioners there in Delhi, couldn't join. I think so. Today, the developing world, the prime and the most important need is to work for the environment. And we all are aiming towards it. New promulgations are coming every day into it, both at the country level and at the global level as well. And all is trying to say 3 basic principles. How can we have the material resource efficiency? That's number 1. Second, they are saying, because I'll just take a minute too, and then we'll go to others, and then they can go to flow your program. The three things is, one is, of course, people are talking all about how can we turn around to material resource efficiency. Second is, how can the collection system eliminate littering of plastics or littering of waste as such, more so in the developed world. We all are facing that problem. And the third basic thing which we are all beginning to fight is how to eliminate the unnecessary problematic plastics, packaging that can not be recycled, or when I say not be recycled, the product as such is recycled, but the collection of that product gets into the litter, it is not collected, and so we face all sorts of problems. So I think so, I always say that why do we have to pack plastics, pack flowers in plastics, and not one-fold, two-fold, three-fold, or four-fold, Rohit, Gurashish, Tushar, and Akshay. We do ample 10 folds, and then we sell it at 3 times the cost. And I go and give it to Rohit. He hugs me and leaves the flower on the table. With due regards, Rohit, to you. So, that's the consequence we end up. And by the time the flowers wither, we suddenly realize, oh my God, I had to put them in the water. And the whole plastic is downsized and thrown into the bucket, and then it gets littered and torn and water, and it gets into the dump site. And this classic case, I did a study around 2005, when I asked, a same flower in Kha market was selling, one of the posh markets in Delhi, for more than 1,000, and the same flower was selling in a lower down market in Lajpat Nagar, equally competent, at 400, and then into a very lower market in Gokulpuri at about 200. So, it's the rich we who have made this to go around to find the solutions for us. I'm sorry to say that, but I have no choice but to say that, because it's the rich who create this bundle of unnecessary problematic packagings and use and functioning. We were doing a characterization in Jaipur for an inventorization of plastics program for Rajasthan government, and in Jaipur, we were extremely finding it difficult how to divide the waste characterizations in the income categories. We came up to 5 income category definitions, and the lowest number of people in a house, but with a high consumption pattern, were giving the highest outcry for plastics. That's the beauty, or you say, and discard material, new product, overconsumption. These are some of the plagues that we are getting around it. Now, I don't say that we are not having good systems in place. We are certainly having good system in India. And people ask me, circular economy is a Western phenomena. I say, no, it's just packaged in the Western world. It's just packaged, but it's practiced all over the world. We all talk about repairability, extending the product life cycle, ease of recycling, zero waste economy to no residues and effluents. So that is all about circularity if we talk about it. Otherwise, we are increasing the recycled content used in packaging. We are wanting to encourage labeling of the reused plastic into the packaging or on a product. And these are going to really make a difference over the coming time period. And I think so these young organizations and experienced people like Tushar, who are finding a way of solution to give it to the brand owners, I think so. I'll stop here, and then we will go to the next speaker.
Sure. Thank you, Mr. Sodhi, and absolutely resonate with what you said. I think we will need to all bring in that consciousness in our consumption patterns and our behavioral patterns to go out and actually make the change. While I see Vivek Pathak, you've raised your hand, I'll request you to give us some time. We'll first go through each of our speakers to share their quick point of views on the topic, get into a quick round of Q&A, and then I'll definitely open it up for all of you as far as Q&A is concerned. Moving from Mr. Sodhi to our next speaker, Mr. Tusar Pattnaik. He is the corporate head EHS and plastic waste management for Dabur for India as well as SAARC countries. He is also the founder, member, and treasurer at WeCare, PET Packaging Association for Clean Environment, director at Punjab Plastic Waste Management Society, and corporate member at CII and FICCI. He has an illustrious career of over 20 years in driving EHS initiatives with prestigious organizations in India. He has demonstrated professional excellence in planning, designing, and implementing comprehensive EHS management systems and procedures to prevent incidences of environmental pollution, health hazards, and accidents. He is also proficient in conducting EHS and safety audits. He is actively involved in various CSR activities like PET recycling, imparting training on road safety and home safety at the CDC Center to Village Youth and Women. Mr. Tusar, it's an honor and pleasure to host you today evening, and I invite you to share your point of view on this topic, and we'll proceed further with our last panel member for today. Over to you.
Yeah, thank you, Rohit. And I think you have almost sized the contest and what Prabhjot Sahab has told that he has a very, very vast experience and vast knowledge. He has told the right thing, what exactly happening in this. So today evening, what you told that definitely a very good interactive session. And this topic is, I can say, one of the most important topic of the today's scenario. Talking about the leading for the last 22 years, and in terms of, if you see in Dabur, in the plastic waste management carrying over the last 3 to 4 years. And if you're talking about in any of the conferences or any of the seminars is organized today, is the one important topic is just about waste management, and the most important is called plastic waste management. Why these things is coming into picture? Because you know in India, everything is doing in a reactive mode because we never feel in to do in a proactive mode. So when our situation is going to west and west, and you feel that in the next 30 to 40 years and 50 years, where the plastic will be more than the fish. So when this situation comes, then we have decided to, okay, now is the time we have to act, whether it's a reactive mode or it's a proactive mode, we don't know. But yes, situation is changing. And as the leadership of Prime Minister Narendra Modi, who have already declared in the global platform by net zero and plastic waste and the renewable energy, whatever the things has been promised at the global level. And what he started at the Indian level has come from Swachh Bharat Abhiyan to this plastic waste. It has already takes a great momentum in India. If you see in the last 2-3 years, it has at a very, very fast rate. Before 5 years, nobody was talking about this plastic waste and waste. Everybody is talking in the other field. But today, it is a very current scenario. Everybody is talking about this plastic waste. And in this plastic waste, many organizations, big brands, those who are in the Indian markets, they have started this plastic waste journey. And very proudly, we can say that from Dabur for the last 4 years in this plastic waste sustainable journey. Why I tell much a plastic waste sustainable journey? Because when the plastic waste has been started, and today in this financial year, the last financial year 21 and 22, the Dabur declared one of the plastic waste neutral company in FMCG sector. Because last 4 years in a very sustainable way, we are doing this plastic waste management. It is not only as a compliance of the government we are doing it, but we are doing for the sustainability. While we are talking about the sustainability, that consisting of the 3 factors. One, it is not only collection of the plastic and sending to the recycler and co-processor. Second, environmentally, when you are sending for the co-processing and recycling, the carbon footprint is reduced in the environment. That means for the environment point of view, that is more important. And while we are working, we are directly or indirectly engaged more than thousands of people. we are associated with the top waste management agencies of India, like your Record, your Recircle, IPCA, Mishra Traders. A lot of people have been associated with in Dabur for the last 10 years. So directly or indirectly, you have associated with more than 5,000 rack pickers. We are working in more than 200 cities. We are working more than 180 ULBs. So this is one kind of a direct or indirect employment to everybody. So in socially also, we are attached as an organization, as a philosophy of the organization to do in a sustainable way. That's why from collection, for reduction of carbon footprint and engagement of the people in various ways. It is not only the rack pickers, but also we are partnering with our waste management agencies to give the education in terms of health and hygiene program, sanitation program, and awareness program in various cities. Dabur worked in the last 2-3 years, more than 34 states and UTs, as we have been covered. And the last 4 years, we have done more than 70,000 of metric ton of plastics sending to recycling and co-processing. It is not only the collection, but the way we have been collected. And if you see the traceability of the method, hiring a world-class audit agencies called BDO, starting from collection, sending to the recycler, and the methodology we have adopted is very, very robust. Those who are associated with Dabur, I can proudly say Dabur is done in that way, not free. So coming back to the challenges, if you see today, what are the topic today in topic, if you go through this important topic, yes, there are a lot of challenges. We have to understand that when there is a lot of challenges, there is a lot of opportunities. So if you see in terms of employment, there is a huge employment in this waste management sector, and the coming challenges which are going to be in kinds of recycled plastics. That is again new challenges is coming, which is going to implement from 2025 and 26. That is very important. Now, before 2 years, if you're talking about EPR, it was a big challenge. Now every company has come forward and do their compliance. But again, there are some gaps which has to be addressed very new. If you see in the CPCB portal, if you see, only the big brands were registered. But one sector which is large in numbers, if you see in MSME, which is not registered under CPCB and that is not allowed for the registrations also. But we should take into account so that the number of plastic generated by MSME sectors also in a very large. If you want to be clean free of India and plastic waste in a sustainable way, we have to take everybody into the account so that whatever the generation of or using of plastic by the organization, they should do the recycling and co-processing, and everybody should be participate in a way so that we can declare it India as a plastics waste neutral or plastic free nation. So there are many challenges. Yes, once the panelists will go on, and we are ready to hear the lot of questions. Definitely, I'm expecting from the panelists, and this is a very this session is very, very touching. One of my favorite session is the plastic management, because this year I have already participated in more than 40 to 50 conferences. So a lot of organization, a lot of questions is coming. So I will be eagerly listen to questions and answers from everybody and panelist member. Thank you, Rohit.
Thank you, Tushar. I think a very, very valid point that you started off on, which is being proactive rather than reactive, and it's time to take the action. And we're glad to hear that Dabur is doing a lot of interesting work in this area, which I'm sure you'll elaborate while we get into our Q&A discussion as well. And moving from there to our final speaker, where who will bring in an entrepreneurial perspective to the entire panel discussion today. It's a pleasure to introduce Akshay Shah. He is the co-founder of FreshGo Perfumes and Hygiene. FreshGo brings to its customers safe, non-toxic, and highly effective products. They have an array of natural products for daily use, including aromatic perfumes, moisturizing body oils, and natural laundry care. Believe me, when I looked at the website and some of the products, it was really interesting, and I'm sure all of you must have a look at it. In his previous stint, he was the Chief Operating Officer at Tricola Tech, research analyst at BTVI, and sales associate at Religare. He's an alumnus of the University of Mumbai. He has expertise as a wealth manager, research analyst, covering the pharmaceutical, automobile, banking, and textile industry. He's worked as a financial advisor and caters to the domestic as well as global clientele. It's a pleasure to host you, Akshay. Welcome to our session. And I hand it over to you to share your quick point of view on this topic. Akshay, you are on mute while you are speaking.
Hello, team. Thank you, Mr. Rohit and Mr. Gurashish ji for having this wonderful session. All the members and audience, thank you for participating in this wonderful event, which they have curated. I am Akshay Shah, the co-founder of Gelnova Hygiene. It was wonderful of Mr. Rohit to introduce me. He brought all my past experience out, what I've did over the last decade. Mr. Tushar, Mr. Prabhjot have done a wonderful work in this particular thing. I come from a very diversified background. What I would like to say is that what we at FreshGo believe, we follow a principle of 3 R's, that is reduce, recycle, and reuse our products. We've curated our products in a way where we avoid using single-use plastic. We replace them with it's either paper or it's either monocartons, e-flute material. We are working to replace the single-use plastics in the entire household care section. Most of the things, the plastic is the worst element today. People are getting aware. The landfills, the oceans, everything is getting filled with a lot of plastic. So what we are working is at a very small level, but it's creating a large impact because in 2 years of our launch, we've eliminated 50,000 single-use containers which go to the market only for laundry pods. We are innovating at our end. We are working on bringing out the most eco-friendly, non-plastic products out to the consumers. What we believe all brands should focus on giving back products which are less harmful to the environment. People don't know what D2C is. Our company basically sells directly to consumers. We avoid middleman. We sell online directly to consumer. We prefer the entire packaging to be plastic free. Our tapes are also plastic free. We're using paper to supplement that. And I also would like to share a point, like Mr. Prabhjot and Mr. Tushar said, there are many challenges. India is growing very fast. India is the 3rd largest urban waste generator currently in the world. With the effort of companies like ReCircle and others out there, it's creating a very social impact, and people are getting more awareness, to consume less plastic. There is public data available that daily food intake, we have minimum 100 milligrams of plastic. We don't know how we are consuming plastic consciously, but there's a lot of plastic in our day-to-day life, which we need to reduce, recycle, and make a positive effort from our standalone business point of view.
Thank you.
All right.
Yeah, sorry, Akshay. You were saying something.
No, I would like to say that, guys, you all know whom to ask more questions. It's Mr. Tushar and Mr. Prabhjot. I am just a young entrepreneur who knows the impact of plastic, how it causes impact. Today, we are competing with Ariel, Surf, Tide. All these dinosaur companies are using plastic products. When we decided to make 123 wash, we thought of all angles before, which will give benefits to nature as well as people.
Super inspiring.
I'll pass the mic to Mr. Rohit.
Thank you, Akshay. I think super inspiring work, and I wish and I wonder that all entrepreneurs, multiple of entrepreneurs were creating D2C and launching D2C brands in India if they would take that viewpoint. Super interesting and inspiring work, and we've got nearly about half a dozen questions already out there, and rest assured to all of you that we'll be answering each of these questions as we move forward. But before we do that, let's get into let's get into a quick round of conversation to set that context as well. So my first question, I would like Mr. Prabhjot to answer this. My first question is that a large chunk of businesses in India are unorganized, and I think there's enough data that talks about it. And accessing the waste collection itself makes it a huge challenge. That how do you go out and collect it from so many small shops and so many raddiwalas that are there, so many pan shops, for example, which is out there. What are the few ideas on the cusp that you can recommend so that we could address this challenge at the outset? What are your thoughts on this?
Hey, Rohit, you really hit the nail. Very good question. Now, with all due respects to everybody, that the collection largely is lying in the unorganized sector. We may say, or we may agree, or we may not. Yes, either it is lying in the unorganized sector or it is lying with the municipal corporations. That's where we are set up. By law, we have set up the municipal corporations who are there collecting it and who are trying to charge a user fee. Many of the people are not ready to pay the user fee, which we should. Under the polluters pay principle, we are polluting. In every individual in a country is a polluter. Sorry, with due respect, because we are consuming and then we are giving it out and discarding it. So it is a prime responsibility that we need to be environmentally conscious and sensitive, that we segregate our waste, we rightly deposit it at the place where it is required to be doing. On the retrospect, what we are doing is we are very keen that somebody comes and collects it for us. And we don't need to pay it also because the waste has value. Now, that really makes the whole process very cumbersome. So that's where the unorganized sector comes in. And people are, over the last 5 years, if I'm seeing, I'm working in the sector of waste along with my other areas of interest, or since the last 15 years, 20 years. And I'm certainly seeing the trend in the last 4 or 5 years very high, that people are becoming conscious. People are collecting consciously. People are segregating consciously, even though the unorganized sector, they are picking up and they are segregating it. And people, organizations like ReCircle and many others, waste management agencies, who are primarily driven by youth and with very positive attitudes, are they are getting into the system where they are mainstreaming these waste pickers and taking care of their inclusivity in terms of getting them benefits, insurances, health issues. And that is building a very good chain. So I think so the crux of the points which you asked, recommendations. Number one, each polluter has to segregate waste at their own doorstep and ensure that the collected waste is put into the right bucket. Second, the informal sector needs to be mainstreamed. Government has put up so many schemes, and political leadership in the country with the Honorable Prime Minister leading it is fantastic. The second is bringing the mainstreaming the waste pickers, taking care of their health and livelihoods and enterprise, dignity and respect above all. The third thing I would say is we need to really take care of the kabadiwalas, so-called the small aggregators. Believe me, we have gone into the moon. I don't know what satellites we have set up, but that poor kabadiwala remains to be the same and living there and doing cash business with no support of the machinery. We are talking today to recognize the importance of multilateralism in tackling the Earth's triple planetary crisis, which was in Stockholm 50. You all have been there. We were all there in talking about climate, nature, and pollution. But the poor kabadiwala stays to be the same. What an incident. What a shame. I'm sorry, including myself. So we have to find social justice around the whole program which we are doing. whatever profits you may earn, I don't want that we should not earn profits. I want people to earn profits, but I want equity in terms of profits also. I've been working with Recycle. We have had enough arguments down the line, and they have done a fantastic job and a good stride. Akshay is new to me, but I'm sure he's on the similar cards. Tusar, of course, comes from the brand which support these actions through their CSR. So I think so. This is all a combination. While we talk about all this, it has to be multi-sectoral, multifaceted, where people from all lives and walks need to come together, create this into an everyday approach. I was reading the other day a newspaper cutting, which I'm sharing with you all, Green Tooth organization, a person trying to advertise. So likewise, these are the examples which are coming in, but we have to see that where lies the justice. Equitable distribution of profits is a must. Dignity and respect is a must. No compromise. Over to you back, Rohit. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Mr. Sodhi, for sharing this. I think I'd like to change the gear and move to Akshay. And Akshay, I would want to ask, what are the challenges that entrepreneurs, startups, companies encounter in using recycled raw material? So I'm sure that while you went out and you were hunting for such material for your products, but what were the typical challenges that you encountered?
The typical challenge is about the quality concern. If I am using something that is recycled waste, it can be durable, it cannot be durable. The major issue was the quality concern. The second thing that I faced, the challenge was there was no assurance of high quality products that could be obtained from waste recycling. If an input raw material is of an inferior nature, and I think we need more strict and more stringent implementation, as in when recycling process is not carried out properly, it can have adverse effect on health and environment.
Absolutely. I think well put down, Akshay. And
Thank you.
one of the key stakeholders, Tushar, in this entire ecosystem are the corporates. And I think what they bring on table is the scale, is the large reach, is the entire ammunition that they have in terms of going out and turning things around, courtesy their size, access to resources, etc. The question that I have for you is, how can corporates collaborate or partner to reduce the negative impact of waste? And if you have any case, any thoughts that you would want to share, either from your personal experience, can you throw some light that, yes, we don't need to go out and do or build this all alone, like the challenges that Akshay just spoke about. There are opportunities where we could collaborate in some or the either way with larger corporates who could also help us amplify it, like Sodhi sir was talking about. What's your view on this, Tushar?
Yeah, thanks, Rohit. I'll give one classic example how a corporate is helping not only this in terms of compliance, but also to helping the society, also creating and reducing the negative impacts as a corporate. I'll give you an example. So coming back to that question, this first answer I'm giving that in terms of while we're talking about the plastic and the recycled plastic and everything, why these things is a problematic. If you say, being a corporate and being of any of the organization, we have to remember that, and this is the first important thing we have to implement. Otherwise, the coming day challenges will be more and more. The recycled plastic, what you're talking. So coming back to that point, I will come to my point. The major important thing being a corporate, and I'm also doing it in a various level and telling you an example, source segregation. Unless you do those source segregation, the bigger challenge in the recycled plastic content will be very, very problematic in the coming future. Now, whatever the waste is coming from different area, we have just to segregate it and sending to the recycler. But when you're talking about the recycled plastic, that means you have to collect the same category of plastic, When you will get the same category of plastic, that means where your source of segregation. And that's reached a massive campaign required from the source. And if it will not happen, then recycled plastic will be a major challenge, because monomer plastic is a requirement. Because when you, let's take a water bottle, and water bottle containing of a PET bottles, cap is different material, seal is different material, bottle is. So while you go for a recycling, everything has to be sorted differently. So I'm getting a very good recycled plastic is very bigger challenge. So as a corporate, how we are doing and an exercise to awareness among the employee. Dabur for the last 4 years, if you say, one campaign has started in Delhi, which is called a My 10 kg campaign. In a My 10 kg campaign, with the help of the North Delhi Municipal Corporation, we have today at present covered with our one of the waste management agencies called IPCA. We have covered 250 to 300 societies where people are segregating the different wastes and collecting the waste by the delivery van from door to door. And now every day, if you see, more than 1,000 kg of plastic is collected every week from the regions. And that is the point where the source of.
So Sodhi also mentioned this, and you added on to it. And you added on to it that right from the source, which is ensuring that the collection of the waste, segregation of waste is done in the right way, to then ensuring that it is processed well, it is repurposed. I think that entire value chain is important, and uh, uh, quite a long value chain. In fact, there are multiple other questions. So I'm going to take a seat back in terms of the questions that I had for panel. But I'll go out there and ask some of these questions that we have for panel members. So Tushar, the multiple question on Dabur, and I'll just add, I'll just merge some of these questions for you. One is our attendee or our participant would like to understand, is Dabur, apart from eliminating, is it also planning to reduce plastic usage? And the second one is, are you planning any virtual EPR portal for Dabur?
So talking back, taking your questions, yes. There's one, there is three, another this the coming years, not only Dabur, every brand is also working in this reduct and this 3R approach. I think, and Akshay has told that reduction, reuse, and recycling. As a company, though we have been declared as the plastic neutral company, so today also I can tell you that Dabur also working the reduction of plastics. Many of our items are already reduction of plastic, like your shampoo sachet, Hajmola sachet, where we have reduced more than 300 to 4 kgs of plastics. So similarly, various products we have been working the reduction of the plastics. So we are working in both the fronts, where the reduction of plastics and reduction of the papers also. Now we are working many of the items and many of the food items also there, which is being ready for use for in the recycled plastics also. While these regulations will be okay from the government, from FSSI and everybody, the plastic will, the first approach, which is called reduce, how it will use the recycled plastics. So in that way, your plastic reduction will automatically come. So there is many things in the pipeline, and the rules which is going to implement by the Ministry of Environment and Forest from 25 to 26, you have to reduction in the rigid plastic and use the recycled plastic content in the rigid plastic is 30%, flexible plastics is 10%, and MLP is 5%. And that will help in the first step of the reduction of the plastics. And Dabur is committed and always, and year on the pipe, you see on the in a PT recycled plastics, only one vendor is certified in India, that is Sri Chakra. Second is Banyan Nation. So if similar vendors will be approved by FSCC, the day another 1 year will be reduced to 30% and will be in the form of 30% recycle given by government in 25 and 26, we can easily available. So there is a lot of technology, lot of infrastructure, a lot of challenges is there. So we
Interesting.
as a company working in the three platforms, reduce, reuse, and recycling, three approach.
Absolutely. In fact, my next question that we have here is for you, Mr. Sodhi. How soon can a country like India contribute to sustainable development goals? What steps can be taken to educate these citizens? And how much is the government actually contributing regarding these same?
You want me to go first?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you very much. One thing I must say that the political, I said it earlier also, there is a very big political will to really systematize and set up systems in a way we can achieve the SDG goals. There is no doubt about it. New policies are on being turned up. These Niti Aayog is the center which is monitoring this achieving of these sustainable development goals. Every state has set up a cell, how they are contributing towards achieving the sustainable development goals. What are the areas which are falling short of it? What are the areas which are coming in it? So I think so there is a strong willingness, and the informal sector or the formal sector, the non-governmental sector, and the opening up of the brands and the others into their CSR are certainly monitoring in their aspects, in their goals and aims, what are the achievements they're making towards the sustainable development goals. So I think so that is a very big change. The change of already the government taking 2% into the CSR, coming in about 25,000 crores a year, and or maybe more than that now, that itself is a reflection that we are wanting to invest back into the system. New schemes coming up every day. I was talking about mainstreaming in the earlier part. The government has come up with this smile in the smart cities concept. There are many other schemes, but let me speak one. Sport for the marginalized for livelihoods and enterprises. That is the beggars. Under the smart city program, there are schemes which are being created for inclusivity of the people who are otherwise marginalized and are not given the fair wage system to undergo a step forward to create equality and equity and justice at the same time. So I think so we are on a good step forward. It cannot be done within a day's time. If we see plastic sector, the recycling industry is now getting to be in fair wages, less of exploitation, more private. I am very, very impressed and very happy that young, smart individuals are keen to take risks, to invest into waste management, to earn. And that itself is a very good step forward in the country. People like Akshay, people like Gurushish, Rahul, who is the partner to Gurushish, and Rahul Uddar, and many others. I can go on naming people like Ricard or Dibarth Banerjee. Young people getting into sway to get things done. They may not be at the fullest right now. Much of glamour is driven around it. Much of money is to be rolled into receiving things. So, but I think so there is a very good future. India will certainly go a long way. I just will stop here because I can keep on going to rattle the number of schemes that the government is coming up and the schemes which are being put to achieve particular interests under the Sustainable Development Goals. I think I'll close here and let others answer it.
Absolutely. In fact, in the interest of the time, I'll take one last question for Akshay, and then we'll move on to an interesting segment on key takeaways for all of us. So Akshay, there's a question in terms of brands that refrain from taking responsibility of their waste. Being a new brand, it's commendable that you're putting aside the focus on the financial aspects to recover plastic, how does this impact your business, or does it help your business sell more from a marketing point of view? So what's your thought on that?
I raised my hands. I had to talk in between. So basically, I agreed. I'll answer to your question in parts. When Mr. Tushar was speaking about the plastics and how it's filling the landfills and all, I wanted to say that you'll see this is a plastic bag, right? If you all can see this, it's a plastic bag basically. I'm not sure if you all can read the text. This says that this is not a plastic. What we have done, we found a sustainable material which looks like plastic, but it is made using cornstarch. This biodegrades using a chemical called methylene dichloride. So when you're talking about adding to plastic waste, we are trying to not even go there. We are trying to cut it at the point where we can say that this bag biodegrades automatically. We are taking a risk. We know that the bags have a minimum shelf period. We have to use the bags in a very periodic way in a fast circulation, because the bags start biodegrading within 6 months. Right? This is our risk, what we are taking to avoid using plastic. When I told you earlier, when I introduced myself, I told you about the packaging, like how single-use plastic packaging is how we are avoiding. We've made a material, we made a packaging using monocarton paper packaging. There are many ways. Going back and forth to your question, I do the financial part, I do this, the packaging development, and the part where we don't add waste. I believe it's a holistic choice that one has to take. Individual person has to take that choice. And how they say swachhata ghar pe chalu hoti hai. The real cleanliness begins at your home. How you make a plan with your family, how you make a plan with your kids, how kids and you work on, I was said that if this is brought, cleanliness and hygiene is brought into education, the kids will grow the parents. The real inclusive growth will happen when we address this at a education level, where the kids can tell their parents, stop throwing dirt outside, do this, do that. So I believe that it's a bottom-up approach that we have to follow to, to solve this. And like Mr. Prabhjot said and Mr. Tushar said, who are very more experienced when it comes to recycling and plastic things, they are right. India is on a very positive place. It's gonna grow exponentially. Companies like ReCircle, the initiatives you guys are taking are truly positive for the society and the impact you're creating.
Thank you so much, Akshay, for sharing your view. And in fact, what's beautiful, I've seen him also answering some of your questions. I'm sure, audience, there are many more questions out there, but due to paucity of time, we'll move into our last segment and then move into calling this a day off. However, you could definitely connect and reach out to all our panel members on LinkedIn. In case you would want our help to connect you with one of the panel members for any specific ask, we'll be happy to do so. And you could reach out to us for that. So before we close our session, I have a request for all the panel members. We will go ahead and have a rethink question for all of you, which is, what is one key takeaway from this conversation that's important that each of our attendees here should go forward with? So first, I'll start with Mr. Prabhjot. Yeah, one key takeaway from you.
So if I have to say one key thing, then I better say that better segregation, better collection systems, we should really encourage. We should foster our minds into it and get that acted in every possible way. I am sure within 5 years, you are going to have in malls, shops being run by young individuals on deposit your waste and take away the money. And it will cut across many sectors. And I think so. I am very sure it will not even take 5 years. It will come now, because that is the need of the hour. We don't know how to dispose our waste. We just throw our waste. We don't dispose the waste. We throw the waste. We put it in the bin. We throw it away. We put it here and there. but the waste has value. Let us put young people into better collection segregation systems for better recycling and better extending the product life cycle. That's it.
Excellent. So that's a great business idea for any aspiring young entrepreneur who's probably a participant. Here is a great idea for you. Let's move to you, Tushar. What's the one key takeaway that you would want to give to our participants today?
So adding to all the things, whatever the things we have to, now we are implementing, and India is going to be a very good, in the next 3-4 years, will be a very, very progressive nation in terms of environment. The same thing, educate and more aware how the waste can be segregated and it is a value for the money. This kind of awareness start from my home, then my society, then my factory, then my nation. These 3-4 things are interrelated things. If you say we are doing, government is doing nothing, it has to be start from us. When this concept and this awareness creates the public mind or into the bloods of the people, India will be in the next 3-4 years, will be a very, very developed nation and will be lead in the entire world, not only in terms of economy, but also in terms of environment friendly. Second thing, for the great opportunity for everybody, like Akshay also saying, I can give you the lot of business opportunities in the market. People should know how and how it will be happening. If you see one single thing I'm telling you, apart from everything, the 1st July, the single use of plastic has been banned. If you see, all single use plastic has the alternatives in Indian market. But one thing I can tell you, still in Indian market, one thing has been banned. There is no alternatives in Indian market, that is called straw. The plastic straw alternatives is the paper straw, which is required in India. Till there is not a single people in that present in the market which can made a paper straw, which is requirement of more than 6 billion straws of India. And now India, in terms of Atmanirbhar Bharat, we are procuring these paper straws from China and Indonesia. So from a startup of everybody, it's a challenge and it's a time. Make a paper straw, we can supply to many of the organizations, which is the requirement of the hour. So that is a huge opportunity, employment and startup is there. So this is my second point I should tell to everybody, those who are participants also, and also people are on the forum.
Right. Thank you so much, Tushar. And moving on to you, Akshay.
My takeaway here is that don't wait for things to happen. We consciously have to work each day, every day to make things happen. You all have participated in such a wonderful event. Like me, I have prepared notes. I guess you guys have done the same, because what Mr. Prabhjot and Mr. Tushar said is very true. Just work towards the conscious change making element daily. That's all I have to say. Work towards it. Each and everyone will make a bigger effort. You, hand in hand, we all are one in this. So let's do that. Come together and make the world a better place and our country.
Wow. Thank you so much, all our panel members, for sharing your thoughts, key takeaways. There's been so much learning, interesting reflections, a lot of things for me to go back and actually reflect upon. And while we come towards the end, I invite Gurashish to share the vote of thanks for all our panel members and participants. Gurashish, over to you.
Very thank you, Rohit, and thank you, everybody. I mean, I think the event has been pretty insightful. All the thoughts that were shared here, a lot of things to take back from people. Would like to again start with just covering up some of the few highlights. ODG, starting with the story of the flower bouquets, going to circular economy. Circular economy, so ODG is inherently a part of India. I mean, we just need to go back to our medieval days a little and think of the things that we did then. Tushar, amazing point on more reactiveness than proactiveness. I think that's a big takeaway. Plus, Dabur's presence in 1,200 cities, 80 ULBs working with 5,000 plus waste pickers. Akshay removing 50,000 plus units of single-use plastic. I mean, from where I see, all of us are here to really be a part of of what is required. I'll wrap it up with 3 points that I really found, that is ensuring good quality material at source, good processing, and good quality material availability. I think that would wrap up all three of our panelists' thoughts. However, that is it from what I feel about the entire session. Thank you again, all the esteemed panelists, attendees, and moderators. I'm very happy to see that this idea that we've been nurturing at ReCircle for a while is finally blooming. Rethinking is at the core of ReCircle. For those who are familiar with our organization, would know that we are always thinking of out of box ways to better ourselves in the industry as a whole. We truly believe that waste is not a problem that can be solved by one person, one company, one ULB. And for India to excel, we would all need to come together, have more of such knowledge sharing platforms, which provides a safe space, actually, I would say, for out-of-box thinking and really rethinking solutions. So thank you, everybody. We started with challenges, Rohit, but I'm very happy to say that Sodhi ji, Tushar ji, everybody else have come up with opportunities here for entrepreneurs and other like-minded people. So as we at ReCircle love to say, would you like to be a part of the pollution or the solution? We like to be a part of the solution. Everybody here on our esteemed panel likes to be a part of the solution. And we hope for the same for everybody who's attending here. So let's move from thought to action. And a very thank you, everybody. And we hope to see you again for our follow-up sessions. And you can definitely see our impact report again by scanning the QR code. Just before closing, I think Sodhi ji had something to say. He raised his hand. We'll take that and then we'll end it.
No, I just by chance, but since you have given me that, boy, we really need to avoid unnecessary packaging. You name it these days. It's become a fashion and a glamour to have photo frames packaged. Micas being used in the house is full of plastics. I don't know how we are going to get rid of all this plastic. That's it. Thank you.
Right. Thank you, everybody, again. We'll close the session. Thank you, Rohit.
Thank you. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much, everyone.
Thank
We
you.
look forward to hosting all of you again soon for another session. Thank you.
Thank you.